Okay, so here we go. Week 13. This is a review of everything that we've had so far. So if you could please get out your lecture notes that look like this. Okay? All right. So today's lecture is a review of what we've been working on since week 8. If you've been faithfully completing your assignments, which you guys have, this should be a bit of a breeze of a lecture and an assignment. All right, so the first thing, academic writing. Who can tell me what is academic writing and how is it different than other writing you might do during your daily life? Yes?
Academic writing is based on facts used for a variety of purposes, whether to argue a point, to illustrate a point, or, you can only use facts. You can't get personal, and that's to be, I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but it has to be done, quote unquote, a certain way, like MLA format, or it can't just be like, it can't just be freestyle, basically.
Exactly, okay.
That's how it's structured.
Very good. Jacob?
It's related to education, demonstrates knowledge of the topic, does not get personal, and has awareness for audience.
That is fantastic, Jacob. Very good. Bridget, what would you like to add?
It's a formal form of writing that requires someone to follow a lot of different rules.
Yes, there's a lot of different rules that govern academic writing. Okay, very good. Next we have the golden rule of academic writing, and what is it, Zach?
Thou shalt not plagiarize.
Thou shalt not plagiarize. What does that mean? What does it mean to plagiarize? Robbie?
Don't peddle someone else's words as your own.
There you
I
go.
was just gonna say no Control-C.
What is it?
Bang.
Copy.
Oh, that's copy, no copy paste. Okay, very good. So if it wasn't yours, don't claim it as yours. Okay, then we have the different types of academic writing that we've done so far this year. Who remembers number 1, SAR equals TS plus SS plus CS? What does that stand for? Benny? It was there.
Something answer review?
Short answer response. Okay, and then what's the TS?
Thesis statement,
SS?
supporting sentence,
Yep, and CS?
closing sentence.
Good job. What is the thesis statement? Okay, we said TS, Benny said it's thesis statement, but what is the thesis statement and what is its job? Liam?
It's when you take the main question like, what did Robert ever do in his life, and rephrase it as a statement, like Robert did stuff in his life.
Robert did several things in his life.
Several. I've lived almost 15 years, but I've only done like 3 things.
Very good. So that thesis statement kind of summarizes and it gives direction. Okay, it summarizes, gives direction as to where you're going. Okay, then we've got P equals TS plus SS plus CS. Revisits TS. What does that mean? What do all those letters mean? Bridget?
P stands for paragraph,
Yeah?
TS thesis statement, SS supporting sentence, and CS closing sentence.
And then what does the revisits TS mean?
Closing.
Do you remember?
It is the end that revisits the thesis statement.
Right. So do we state it word for word again?
No.
No.
More
We
Control-C.
visited. No Control-C. This is when you maybe pull a few synonyms or you get the feeling of what the word meant and you use that in there. All right. Why do I have sub sandwiches for SS? Do you remember? I think I did. We had a sub sandwich. Robbie?
You can't have you can't just rewrite stuff. You need an introduction paragraph and a conclusion paragraph, and then you get all the meat inside. But you can't have a sandwich without the bread, because then it's just like a salad, basically.
It's a keto. It's a keto sandwich.
It's a keto sandwich. Nobody likes keto sandwiches. Nobody likes essays without intros and conclusions. Nobody likes keto sandwiches.
Right.
It's-
Or a keto pizza. Like, come on. What is a keto pizza? Give me a break. Okay, and then it also says umbrellas. What did the umbrellas mean? What was that symbolism to help you remember? Has to do with your thesis statement, and then what
Thesis statement
happens?
Covers everything, and at the closing statement hooks it all back together.
Yep, and then everything in between should,
supports it.
right. So if you post some random fact that has nothing to do with your thesis sentence in there, it'll, it doesn't belong there because it doesn't fit under the umbrella. Okay, then we have a new one that I threw in there and tried to claim it as a review. E equals I plus BPs plus CS. What do you think that might mean? I did give you a hint underneath, so. All right, what do you think the E stands
I'm
for?
gonna say it's essays.
Essays, very good. All right, I would stand for introduction, good. BP, what does BP stand for? BP, Bridget.
Body paragraph.
The body paragraphs, yes. And then the CS stands for conclusion. I'm not sure what the S stands for with that. Conclusions. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And then we can maybe chat later. Okay, thanks. All right. So that CS stands for conclusion. In the conclusion, we have again that you would revisit the thesis statement, but this time it also says reflect the hook. What's the hook? It showed up for the first time in the essay under the I section, the introduction. What is the hook? Who remembers? What's the hook?
It's the
Liam.
it's the only interesting thing in the entire paragraph that makes them want to live. I mean, read on.
All right, it's that interesting thing in that introductory paragraph that grabs the reader, pulls them in, okay? It brings them in so they want to read, then you give them the thesis statement, you move into your body, then you come down to that conclusion where you revisit the thesis statement, reflect the hook, and move on. Okay, does that all make sense? You're like, yeah, yep, I know what you're talking about. All right, very good. So now I want you to look at that image that is on your worksheet. What do you see?
A vase.
A vase or a chalice, yep. What else do you see?
Two faces.
Two faces. That's called Rubens' vase. Some people see a chalice, some people see two faces. This is an image that I want you to keep with yourselves
It's terrifying.
for an essay. All right? Jacob, if you see this as a chalice or as a vase, how does that reflect what an essay does or is?
I'm still trying to figure out how you get two faces out.
Black cards.
Look at the black part.
They're people of color.
It's a shadow.
Are you?
All right,
Yeah.
so
Fair.
you're seeing it as a chalice clearly. Tell me then, how does that reflect what an essay should look like?
I have no clue.
You have no clue, all right? Does anybody have a clue as to how the chalice or the vase is an image of what you want your essay to look like? Yes, Caleb?
Maybe like the cup itself is like,
see the guys now.
like the things, like the intro, and then the body is the handle, and then the conclusion would be like the bottom piece, because you need to have all parts or else it's not gonna make a very practical cup.
That's very good, that's very good, all right? So, if you look at this as a chalice, the chalice starts broad. That's just how you're gonna start your introduction. You start broad, you grab their attention, you start leading them in towards your thesis statement. So you've narrowed it in. Now you're in that narrow part of the chalice, okay? Those are your body paragraphs. Everything is staying contained within the thesis. Then you get to the conclusion and you go back out again. You revisit the thesis, you reflect the hook, you go broad, all right? That makes sense? So keep that image in your head. How about the two faces looking at each other? How might that be what an essay is? How might two people looking at each other, potentially communicating to each other, how might that be a reflection? Yes, Bridget?
You want, if you are the writer, you want to convey your meaning clearly to the reader. So you want to see eye to eye with them. And it looks like the two faces are looking at each other.
Exactly. Okay, that's one of the hardest things when you write, and everybody will struggle with that. I do that when I'm doing these lectures and the outlines. I know what I'm thinking, and I know what I'm trying to convey to you, but sometimes I'm not successful. You know, I don't get everything eye to eye. I don't get everything out exactly as I want you to take it in, okay? Or there can be some barriers. We've talked about that as well. You know, there can be distractions and things that keep you from taking it in. But the ideal paragraph or the ideal essay is you, the writer, conveying to the reader, face to face, exactly what you want them to get. So, very good. All right, so far this year, we have done 3 of the 4 types of essays. We have done descriptive, we have done expository, we have done persuasive, we haven't done narrative, that tells a story, and I'm hoping that you guys will get to do that next year.
What about the one where I pretend to be a social justice warrior, just angrily type things?
Yes.
I don't know that one. When are you doing that one? I don't remember giving that assignment. Who can tell me which assignment did you guys do that was the descriptive paragraph? Do you remember? It was I think it was like the first paragraph you had. Who remembers? Do you guys remember?
Yeah, the
Anybody?
Sergeant Cuff one.
Sergeant Cuff was your descriptive paragraph. You had to describe him without plagiarizing. All right. Then we had the expository paragraph that actually ended up becoming your 3-paragraph essay. Who remembers, like, what types of topics did we have for the expository?
I don't even remember what I did.
Yeah. Robbie,
At least mine was music theory.
yours was telling us about music theory. Okay. Yes.
The Greek hoplite.
The Greek hoplites. Yes, you were explaining things. Didn't you? I think you did a joke, like explaining joke telling, the importance of joke
I
telling.
hated it.
Utopia?
Every part of it.
Yes. Gazette.
Packers.
That's right, the naming of the Packers. Benny?
Oh, it was probably something about basketball.
It was something about basketball. You're right. You're right. Anybody guess what Jimmy's was? Knowing Jimmy?
A butcher or something.
Maybe that could be your next one.
How
Detailed
the fake doing
It was hunting. It was related to hunting. Okay.
Detailed instructions how to dissect a deer.
All right, and then the other one you had was your persuasive speech. That's or persuasive paper where you got to express your opinion. That was stuff like why Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback.
That's disgusting. Who wrote that?
It's bad.
No, it's not.
You're not wrong.
There were some other
That's
persuasive
pathetic.
pieces. I think there was one about Michael Jordan. Why guns conceal carry. Yeah, you had one related to that. That was awesome. So that was a fun one because you got to express your opinion. Let me ask you this question, okay? Now, we said the persuasive piece was an opinion piece. Can you, in an essay, without writing an opinion, still express your opinion? Think that one through. Can you still express your opinion in your essays, even if it's not an opinion piece? Jacob, if you want to close that, go ahead. It looks like it's getting right in the eyes.
Technically, you can't.
Robert,
You can heavily imply your opinion.
you could imply your opinion. You have to be careful with that. Think that through. This happens all the time in the news.
I know, I was
Yes.
about to
Leaving
say.
out certain facts, so your reader comes to an obvious conclusion, like you leave out all the facts that support the other side.
Yes.
Exaggerate all the facts that are on your side.
So
like,
I'm not recommending, I mean, this is just the reality, and you need to be aware of that. When you do an essay, you can express your opinion indirectly by what you choose to cover, what topics. You're going to be next week, you guys are going to be writing about a favorite book or a book you recently read and what the life lessons were that were presented in that book. Okay, maybe they presented 5 really awesome ones and one that was off the wall. And you take the one that's off the wall and you really run with it. It's going to make the book look totally different. Do you see what I mean? So you might think, gosh, I never get to express my opinion in this class. It's all academic. Well, you do get to express your opinion. That's actually the kind of the difference between an essay and a report. A report is just the facts. An essay is you kind of picking and choosing which facts you think are important and presenting it. Caleb.
Like news sources, they say they're reporting the news.
Yeah.
Really, they're reporting their opinion on what happened.
Right, oftentimes they are, you have to be very, very careful. You have to be very careful. Usually, like if you are someone who really wants to know what's going on, you're gonna have to read the same story from 3 or 4 different sources. Yes,
You always have to keep in mind, what would they gain from you supporting this opinion?
yeah,
And if it's like, well, you should obviously give to this, you should obviously give to my fund for world domination. It's obviously gonna make the world a much better place.
all right, very good. Okay, let's move on. Everybody turn to the next page in your handout.
You are still marked up like that?
Ours does not, yours does not come marked up like that. Okay, this is actually like a worksheet that I just stuck in here, but we're gonna go over it right now. We're gonna analyze this assignment. And again, this will be a good way for you to review. So, if this was your assignment, and it said 3-paragraph essay due January 22nd, what information out of that would you highlight? Because it's important. This is your critical reading. Bridget.
The 3-paragraph and due date.
Yeah, 3-paragraph due date. Highlight that. If you guys have a highlighter handy, grab a colored pen. Your click pens, those are so much
I
fun.
realize, so I had to bring them big.
And then you'd also might want to write in the margins, right by January 1st.
Start by.
January.
Okay, then we have the sample writing prompt. And the sample writing prompt is, how does the world's view of happiness compare to or contrast with a Christian view of happiness? All right, so what do you need to do as you're looking at that? Okay, here's your writing prompt. You need to look at it critically. What words in that writing prompt do you need to pay attention to? Caleb?
Compare, contrast.
Compare, contrast, okay? Highlight that. What other phrase might be important? What does it say right at the very beginning?
How?
How does? Circle that. Okay? What does how does mean? Where are you going to look? Oh, they're asking me how does. What are you going to look at?
The purple thing of pain.
The purple page of pain.
I like the alliteration, it works.
Okay, and let's look at that purple sheet. Look at that purple sheet. Caleb, what does how does mean?
Explain or evaluate.
Okay, how does means explain or evaluate. Well, that's helpful. What does explain or evaluate mean? What does explain or evaluate mean?
You're having way too much fun.
Robbie?
Do exactly what I'm doing right now.
Whoa, shh. Okay. Robert.
Explain means basically give information on a topic, while evaluate means sort of, I don't know, I guess evaluate, take information and then sort of study it almost.
Let's try that. What does evaluate mean?
Make a judgment about the effectiveness and success of this effect.
All right. So you're actually making a judgment. Hey, if you're making a judgment, you're probably you're gauging an opinion, okay? All right, so discuss or evaluate. Then we have those other keywords, compare, contrast. Looking at your purple sheet, what's going on if you're doing compare, contrast? Somebody got their purple sheet? Purple sheet. Zach, you got your purple sheet? Sorry, that came out really loud. Compare, contrast. What's going on with comparison and contrast?
So
Contrast.
compares point out similarities, contrast is point out.
Okay, so you're looking at your sample writing prompt. Now you know how does, you're thinking, okay, the world's view of happiness compare to or contrast with, okay, with a Christian view of happiness. Right? So the purple sheet is what you're going to use there. So now tell me this. What would planning look like for this assignment? If this was truly, really your assignment, you're like, okay, what are you going to do next? Start praying? Please God, bring me a paper.
Probably.
Yours will be better than mine.
Bridget.
You start by writing your thesis statement.
Okay, you start by writing your thesis statement. Sometimes that thesis statement isn't going to be totally obvious though, right? So you might have to do a few, you're right, that's going to be your goal. by the time you get done thinking, to have a tentative thesis in place. But what other things might you be doing, Jacob?
Video games until you figure something.
No, you're not doing video games.
Yeah.
Caleb, what are you doing?
Maybe note take or like look up examples,
Yep, note take, look up some examples,
write an outline.
write an outline. Oh, you guys, this is the stuff we're gonna be doing next week. I can hardly wait, okay? All right, you're gonna organize.
Video games, let's go.
You're gonna organize, you're gonna actively think, you're gonna draft it, okay? I always do the body paragraphs first. Take care of that, then come back and do that intro and conclusion, okay? But you only have to do, well, this is a 3 paragraph, that's right, okay. So, you've done your planning,
It's in our options.
and with all of your planning, you've come up with a thesis statement. That's D. Let's take a look at the thesis statement. Where will the thesis statement occur in your 3-paragraph paper? Where will your thesis statement occur in your 3-paragraph paper?
You gotta give it to Robert.
I have to. Okay, yes, Robert.
At the end of your, it's the last sentence of your introduction.
Okay, so the thesis statement for this particular 3-paragraph essay is the world's vision of happiness is flawed for several reasons because it excludes the one who can make us happy. All right? Who can tell me what is the power statement in that thesis? If you remember what a power statement is. Should I give you a hint as to what a power statement is? Would that be helpful? Oh,
I'll
Caleb.
take a guess. I don't think I was here for that part where you mentioned it.
Apparently nobody was here for that
Oh,
part of
oh.
it.
I lost my spot, I'm trying to figure out where we're at.
Well, my brain.
Maybe the one who can make us happy?
Actually, no, that is not the power statement.
Because.
Nope. Bridget?
Severance?
Several, yes. The power statement is where you put the words that are like many, 3, several. So please
It's like the most boring
underline,
words in the entire paragraph.
underline several reasons, and then you might even want to draw an arrow or circle it, several reasons, and draw that to power statement. Okay, you want a power statement in your thesis. All right, does everybody know where we are now?
Now I do.
Okay, we're gonna move to the sample body paragraph, and I'm gonna read it. As I'm reading it, I want you guys to be looking for transition words. If you have a red click pen, underline your transition words in red. If you see words that you think sound sophisticated, or they sound like, oh, I bet, that's a nice word, circle it. And then pay attention for what words revisit the thesis at the end of the paragraph. So the thesis is up there in D. So you're thinking all of that while I am also reading the paragraph to you. Here is the sample body paragraph that goes with the world's vision of happiness is flawed for several reasons because it excludes the one who can make us happy. Now I'm moving into my body paragraph. First, the happiness promoted by the world and popular culture would have one think that to be happy means to indulge in one's every desire. For example, the secular mantra, if it feels good, do it, points to a false happiness. Look to the multitudes of miserable Hollywood and reality TV stars as proof of the mantra's lie. Promiscuity will not fill the void in the heart meant only for God's love. Second, the world tells us wealth and things will make us happy. But when one is always scrambling to gather more wealth or the next toy, one misses the joy of the present moment. Most important, however, is that no matter what worldly happiness promises, it will always be finite. It comes to an end. The human heart does not long for the finite, it longs for the infinite. And only God, who is infinite love and goodness, can fill this longing of the human heart. Living a life in relationship with the one who is love is the only way to true happiness. Okay. What are some of the transition words? Transition words.
Second.
Second is a transition word. What transition came even before second? Robert?
First.
First. Then there's another transition. For example, I heard someone say it. Yes, first is one. For example, second, there's another one. Yes. Most important. Okay. Then there's something we haven't talked about too much. This is a little higher level transition. Sometimes you can repeat keywords on purpose because it kind of pulls the reader along. So it will always be finite, and then the next sentence, the human heart doesn't long for the finite. Okay, I'm pulling you along, I'm transitioning you here. Same thing with it longs for the infinite, and only God who is infinite. Do you see how that pulls you along? Those are transitions as well, okay? That doesn't mean you use the same word in every sentence and you're like, hey, I'm pulling my reader along.
At that point, you're just grabbing by the back of the collar and dragging them down a dark, painful alley.
They're kicking and screaming, they're miserable. All right, very good. You guys found the transition words. How about the sophisticated word choices? Did you see any words in there that you still understand what they mean, but they're a little bit stronger than,
I understood.
other things? Robbie?
Promiscuity is a great word. I love
Promiscuity?
It's beautiful.
Promiscuity is not a beautiful thing, but it was a strong word.
That's not what
Okay?
I mean, not what I said.
Yes,
Secular.
secular. Okay, there's another one. Secular, the
Mantra.
modern world. Mantra. All right?
So I guess you would know what mantra means.
A subphrase you repeat over and over again. What about indulge? Okay? Indulge or scrambling. You almost can, scrambling is a good picture. You can picture somebody
I just
losing it.
I don't really think those are sophisticated words, but I did circle them because they're bold, just like those sophisticated word choices. You're supposed to
Liam,
circle
that's
also
pretty good.
bold. Like,
Those
I
are
just kind of
good.
put 1 plus 2 together. They're like screaming at you. Circle that.
Those are good test taking skills. I'm glad I could help you out there. All right. So that was good. You guys did really well with that. Okay, so that would be just a basic analysis. So what we're going to do next is move on to section 3, which is the assignment. So everybody look at your assignment. Mine is green, yours is purple, and there's also an assignment block blurb.
Oh, there it is.
I don't want to spend too much time on the assignment because we do have something new to cover yet as well.
This is frightening.
You wear
All right.
Ooh, fancy.
Zach, would you please read under assignment week 13 what the reason for this assignment is, what the assignment is?
Introduction.
So right after assignment week 13, introduction and conclusion due January 25th, would you read the next sentence?
Create your introduction and conclusion paragraph to complete the thesis statement and expository paragraph provided. Allow 3 days to complete the assignment.
Okay, take a look. Do you see what the thesis statement and paragraph is that you're going to be making an introduction and conclusion to? Hopefully it looks somewhat familiar.
The world's vision of happiness is flawed for several reasons because it excludes the one who can make us happy.
Hey, that sounds familiar. I can do this one, all right? So you are actually going to make an introduction and conclusion to go with the paragraph that we just looked at in class, all right? Should take 3 days to do this, okay? You'll be fine with this. The thing that I want you to pay attention to is that for this assignment, you do not have to send me your pre-write, okay? Because it's a short enough assignment, I think you can handle doing the pre-write, and so you send me your rough draft of your introduction.
Watch as everybody fails.
Yeah, well,
Literally.
you're gonna do a
This is a-
pre-write,
Literally.
I just don't need to see it. Okay, so let's take a look for that introductory paragraph, day 1. So if you flip to your score sheet, okay? So before you guys are all complaining that you have this assignment to do, all right, what do you need to have in your introduction? You need your hook, you need your transition, you need a thesis statement. Who can tell me, how many points am I giving you for the thesis statement? 5, okay.
You really don't care about it.
Well, I'm giving you 5 points. Do you have to come up with a thesis statement?
Yep.
No, you've already got the thesis statement, so I'm giving you 5 points right there. How long does this paragraph need to be? 3 to 4 sentences, okay? I'm already giving you the thesis sentence. That's the last sentence of the paragraph. So actually, you are only having to come up with 2 or 3 sentences for an introductory paragraph. I think you guys can handle that, okay? Something new that has not been on your score sheets, if you see in bold spelling errors, that's only on the final draft. So if I catch spelling errors, I will alert you to them. But if they show up on the final draft, then you will lose points. Okay?
Everybody turn autocorrect on.
It doesn't even correct all my stuff.
Okay,
Yeah, sometimes he doesn't even know what.
the last thing I want you to look at on your score sheet is actually the back page. We're gonna be talking about titles in just a moment. I've been noticing fairly consistency, some title errors with your papers. So what I want you guys to do is, why I'm doing this, is to make sure that you realize when you do your title, there's only 1 space between the date and the title, and then 1 space between the title and the start of your paper. I know that feels weird, because like a lot of you will do like 3 or 4 spaces and 3 or 4 spaces, because your title is so awesome. You just want it there.
I've never
People
had
are
that
actually like framing it.
Yeah, they might be.
I have
Okay.
never had that because of a
So
trend.
you're getting scored, among other things, 1 space between header and title. Title is capitalized properly. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Title reflects last sentence of the paper. We're going to talk about that. 1 space between title and first paragraph. And then another error that all of a sudden just started popping up in so many papers. What do you do with your paragraphs?
You indent them.
You indent them.
Oh, that
Make
was-
sure you indent your first paragraph.
Hey, Jacob, you know, you just like a button that
Yeah,
you press.
I know.
Just
I forgot about the
press
tab
tab.
for a quick second.
All right. Do you guys have any questions about your assignment? So you are creating an introduction and a conclusion to the paragraph that we just dissected.
provided.
Yes.
I realized there's no word limit for the title, but does that mean it can be like more than, say, 3 words?
A title can be more than 3 words, but you don't want a sentence. And we'll be talking about that in just a moment. Okay? Yes.
We have to write this in there.
Okay, good question. Look at day 3. So once you've done your introduction and conclusion, you're going to get 20 points to copy and paste the introduction, body, and conclusion into one paper and create the title. What I'm going to do is tomorrow when I send you the email with the roundup for class, I'm going to send you this in an attachment in a document so you can copy and paste that. You don't have, oh my gosh, you don't have to like retype this paragraph so it feels like you wrote it. No, I will include that in the email. And I want each one of you to take responsibility right now. If I forget to send that attachment, email me and let me know.
Make it very angry.
Hey, strongly worded.
I want a strongly worded email.
We need Thomas O'Donoghue.
All right.
Tell his mom, yeah.
No questions about what we're doing so far. Then the last thing is Roman numeral 4, titles. For some of you, this will be review. For some of you, this will be new. Okay. Who can tell me, this isn't actually on your handout, who can tell me what is the purpose of a title? Why do we have titles?
To show off how good you are.
No, because sometimes they don't work well.
That's what Jacob hates.
Who can tell me? Anybody? Okay, Bridget?
To tell the reader what the paper is actually about, so they don't have to read the whole paper to figure out what you're writing about.
Yes, you're kind of giving them an
You just
idea.
have to read like
Of what the paper's
15
about.
minutes. They have no idea. what-
That's right. Sometimes, too, it's good to get a really catchy title Because someone might start reading something they wouldn't necessarily read otherwise. Because they're like, whoa, I did not know this is what this paper was going to be about. It had a catchy title.
And then it has nothing to do with that in the actual paper until the conclusion.
That's right. And you get to that last sentence, you're like,
An
oh.
entire book entitled To Say Nothing of the Dog, and there is no dog in it.
They said nothing of it.
Well, that's like,
Until
that's
the
on
very
hold.
Okay.
It's about time travel.
Entire thing.
So let us focus back in, people. We're in Roman numeral 4, titles. A, title. What does the title do? Caleb, what does the title do? It's right here in your handout.
Oh, that's right here?
Section 4, titles. There you go, that one.
This one?
Yep,
I don't see it.
there we go. Titles.
Titles.
Everyone is listening? Yes.
Title equals reflects the last sentence of the paper.
Okay, and how do you do that?
You pull a word or two or a short phrase from the last sentence to use as your title.
Excellent, okay? So I took some sample last sentences from some papers that were written. And I want you guys to come up with titles. The Green Bay Packers, by any other name, would not be as memorable. Look at those words. Let's have some titles. Okay?
Packers.
I want to read it.
GDP.
What if you aren't a Packers fan? What else might you do to get someone interested? What other words might you grab?
Lombardi's League of Legends.
That is not in this sentence.
That's
We
like
have to get
fantasy
some words
football
from this
title,
sentence. All right? I want someone I haven't heard from to come up with a title using
Because I can be quiet.
A memorable, holy memorable name.
a memorable name. There you go. Okay? A memorable name. All right, next sentence.
And then
Let's get a title based on this one. There is nothing more rewarding than a split-second kill. And this was not from your gun control paper.
What second kill?
There is nothing more rewarding than a split-second kill. What would be an awesome title for that?
A split second kill.
A split-second kill? What did you say, Ben?
Rewarding kill?
A rewarding kill? Oh, I want to read
We
this.
put the title of one of the, not about like IG-88 on the cover.
Yeah.
All right, next one. One now has the tools to restore humor to its rightful place in humanity.
Humor, it's right.
Humanity's humor?
Humanity's humor. Hey, then you got
That
alliteration.
rhymes.
Okay. Humanity's humor. Yes.
The humor of humans.
The humor of humans. Restore the tools.
That sounds like your like Bob
Humor
Builder,
in its
like,
rightful place.
Bob the Builder, can he build it? Bob the Builder.
I feel bad
No,
for
he
Jimmy.
can't.
Okay.
I feel bad for Jimmy.
Although I'm enjoying the singing, let's move on. The last sentence, that in itself proves that this plan will help the entire world become a paradise for all. One word. Give me one word title from that sentence.
Paradise.
Paradise.
Oh.
But intentionally mispronounced
I was
it.
thinking the.
The.
Paradise.
All right. Okay. Next, how do you format the title? While we're on the topic of titles, please look, we already talked about this. Look at your writing format sample in the page protector. It should be in the middle of your red folder. Okay. You notice that the title is what? Is it off on the side? Where is the title? Centered. Okay. How many spaces between the header and the title?
One.
How many spaces between the title and the first paragraph?
One.
One. Okay, capitalized properly. Day 5 in your grammar tells you how to properly capitalize a title, and I'm almost positive that this week, I think it's this week's, you have to capitalize titles in your grammar worksheets, so it's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So day 5 of your grammar worksheet has the rules on how to properly capitalize. Note that these requirements will be part of the final format score. So for those of you who didn't know about the pull a word or two or a short phrase from the last sentence to use as your title, you're going to do that from your conclusion, your concluding sentence in your conclusion will reflect back up to that title, and that will be scored. You're responsible for that. Yes,
This is a somewhat a serious question.
okay,
If we had like a, like take our last sentence.
yeah,
And we had to do the exact words or words that were like alike, like, I don't know, if it was let me think. Kind of hard to come up with an example, but like, could we use words that essentially mean the same thing, but we change them to like do alliteration or something?
I think so. I mean, the general rule is definitely grab the word and put it up there. So it would have to be the right word being used, like, I think it's possible.
You can change
As
the
long
word
as-
like hackers,
Right,
but like, I don't know. Like a different like adjective or something you use that you use a synonym for it.
sure.
Use a synonym for it. Is it used
Yeah.
that
Makes me hungry.
But how about this? For right now, for the purpose of this class, where I'm actually, giving points to the title, grab a word, okay? Just do it word for word. So make sure that your last sentence has some really awesome words in it that you
Otherwise
can grab and use for your title, because you don't want to put your people to sleep, right? Right, okay. Any questions?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever, okay,
Feel bad for Jimmy.
very good. I'm gonna
Goodbye,
turn this
Jimmy.
off, bye, Jimmy.
Bye.
Does everyone want to say goodbye to Jimmy?
Bye, Jimmy.
Arrivederci.